I'll put this up there for you guys too, okay? So Alexa, Alexa, let's say that we had to find the domain and the range for this funky graph right here.
Yeah.
Okay, that solid dot means that the number right here is included. What number do you want that to be? We'll just make this graph up.
1.
1? Okay, so then would this be 1 also?
1.
So the coordinate would be 1 comma 1. Right? Okay. So the domain is all of the x's. So let me give you an example of something that's not in the domain. This number right here for x is not in the domain, because I can draw a line up or down and it will never touch this curve. So that is not in the domain. The first number that's in the domain is 1. So the domain starts at 1. The domain starts at 1, and it keeps going at 2, 3, 4, 5. And see how this is going up, but it's also kind of going over? That means like if I put a line here, and let's say this was x equals 27. If I drew a vertical line, eventually this will cross it. So 27 is in the domain. And you could like keep going forever and say this is 27,000. If you drew a line up, eventually this will go over and cross that, if you could zoom out far enough. So the domain is from 1 to infinity, because you can keep going forever, the same argument, right? You good with that? Yeah? Ivan, you good with that too?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about the range. Here's don't get confused by this part right here. This would be like, it's what's called the minimum. Okay, so let's say that was -3. Okay? Well, I take it, never mind. That is part of the range. Forgive me, I was thinking of something different. So the range is it's the possible y's, right? That's the smallest y right here. The minimum is the smallest y. Sorry if I confused you when I said don't worry about the minimum. I was thinking about the intercept. I was thinking that it looked like this. I was thinking about this point right here, which isn't always, well, like see where it crosses right there? That's not the lowest. It's the minimum. It's the smallest point is going to be the first number in your range, the smallest point. So this would be, this starts at -3, and then it just goes up, and it keeps going up forever and ever. On this side it stops at 1, but over here it keeps going up forever and ever. So you could draw like say this was +3, you could go over, and eventually it would cross. And you could draw all the way up, say like this was 27, eventually it would cross. So it's from -3 to 27. So the domain would be from 1 to +infinity, which we'd write like this, and the range would be from -3, I'm going to write it over here, to +infinity, because it just keeps going up forever and ever also. Does that help? Are you sure? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's take a look. I'll redraw the one we were working on. Let's take a look at this right here. It was some parabola like this, right? And this point was -3, -2, right? Okay, and this was -7 right there. Okay? This is to distract you. It's an important part of the graph, but it actually doesn't have much to do with the boundaries of the range or the domain. So, the range on this one you said was easy?
No, I was thinking that the range was the -7.
Oh yeah, you see, that's part of the range. But the range isn't where it crosses the y-axis. The range is where you could take like a number for y and go across, and if it hits your graph, that's part of your range. The range is all of the possible y's, and like you see this point right here, it doesn't cross. This point right here is not on the x-axis or the y-axis. It's like, it would be like -5, -8 or something. I don't know what it would be, but like it's a coordinate, right? Mm-hmm. And you see that's the output y, and this is the input x. So this number would be part of the range. But like, see this point right here? let's say that was -2 and +5. That's not on our graph. So this is not the domain, and this number here is not in the range. It's only what's covered by the graph.
What was the main?
Uh-huh. So like let's pick something like right here. Let's say that is 40 or something ridiculous, right? If I go up, the curve's not up, so I don't even need to look up. But if I go down, eventually this is going down and it's getting wider, so eventually this is going to cross it. So 40 would be in the range, or sorry, the domain, because it's x. The domain, because see this is going down and it's getting wider, the domain is from, it's all real numbers. It's from -infinity to +infinity. It's all real numbers. Again, not all real hashtags. Do you see, does that make sense, Alexa? Because it doesn't matter where it crosses here, or if it doesn't cross the x-axis. That doesn't matter. It just matters if you could pick a point on the x-axis, and if you could draw a vertical line and it would cross the curve, then that's part of the domain. Okay, now the range. Do you see this right here? It's the biggest, the highest point on the whole graph. That's called a maximum. And that's where the range ends, is on the maximum. So the highest point is -2. Do you see? And like no matter how far down you go, this is just going down. So that's from a -infinity all the way up to 2 and every number in between. No, yeah?
Well, it's confusing.
It is confusing, I know. So I'm going to try one more, and I'm really, really tired. I even messed up. Like I messed up this thing earlier, and I'm glad I caught my mistake. I'm really tired. I'm going to try something I've never tried before. I'm going to try like a way of showing domain and range I've never tried before. I just thought of this. Okay, so this is my delirious brain coming up with an idea. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to define the domain and range first, and then we're going to see if we can draw a graph. So let's say that the range is from 5 to infinity. Okay? So I'm like thinking of what that's going to look like, right? Let's say this is 5, right? That means there's no y's underneath 5. There's going to be nothing down here. Nothing underneath 5. The entire graph's going to be 5 and higher. I don't know where. It could be like all the way over here.
So the range is the maximum.
Or the minimum. Like in this case, it's going to be the minimum because see it says to positive infinity. That means that it's going to be going up. If it was this way, that would mean it's going to go down because it would mean all the negative numbers are included, but only up to 5. Whereas this way says we start at 5 and we go up forever.
Could be positive because all the
Correct.
positive.
Correct. Okay, so that's my range. It's going to look something like this. I mean, I have no idea. It could be like, I have no idea. Right? Now the domain. Dang. What should we make the domain?
So it's supposed to go up, right?
Well, if this is 5, there's nothing underneath 5 because that's what it says the range is. The domain's talking about how wide it is. So if we said, so if this is 5 right here, if we said the domain was from negative to positive infinity, all I would know for sure is that it keeps going this way forever and it keeps going that way forever. And at the same time it could be going up. So it could be actually something like, let's say that goes down to 5 and that goes down to 5 and that goes down to 5. It could be something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It could be, it could actually even be something like this. If it was from, the domain was from negative to positive infinity, let's say that's 5 again, it could be something like this, where this is 5 right here. because that would be a domain from negative to positive infinity, because it's going left and right, wider and wider. Okay, one more chance. You ready? Let's do this right here. Let's say the domain is from -2 to 10. Let's do a curved bracket. Okay, -2 to 10. Now I don't know exactly what the graph's going to look like, but the domain, it's going to be bound from right here. Let's say that's -2, and let's say this is 10. So this is the range from here up, and this is the domain. Oh man, I shouldn't have done this because I'm going to confuse you. So here's what I'm going to do. Because I don't want to confuse you, like, because this is to infinity, because it's going to go up forever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to change one of these. Like, I could do that number. I know how I could do it. It would be these things called asymptotes, which you don't know what they are yet. So I don't want to do that.
So
So
having that number 10, it would have to go down?
well, no, it would just go up and get closer and closer to 10, but never ever touch it. Yeah. So we're going to say this. We're going to say, let's say that's -2 and 11 or something right here. Okay? And then we could go something like this. It doesn't matter. Eventually it has to go down to 5, right? That would work. Because the domain would start at 2 and go forever and ever, because it's kind of going up and to the right. So to the right, up. So the domain is talking about how far left or right does the graph go, and the range is talking about how far up or down does it go. So, wow. Oh, was this our problem right here? That was the one you were confused by, right? Does it make more sense now?
Well, yeah, it does.
It does now?
Yeah.
Sweet action.